and welcome back to my channel. It's Ashley here, and if you are new, hey girl, hey. So it is September, and in my mind it's officially fall, although it's not officially fall. And I have some fall DIYs for you guys. But today I'm just going to be sharing 2 of those, so let's get started. All right, so starting off with our first DIY, I am going to be using this MDF pumpkin that you can pick up from the Dollar Tree. And when I spotted this, the first thing I thought about was shiplap. So that is exactly what we're gonna do, is turn this into a shiplap pumpkin. So the first thing that I did was I flipped this over and I removed the ribbon and the staples from the back. Another thing that I did was I just numbered each piece so I would not mess up the placement. Next, I'm just gonna start to paint this. So I am just going to paint this the classic like white shiplap look. I'm using just the little apple barrel paint that you can pick up from Walmart. And I did about 3 coats of this. So after I got my body painted, now I'm gonna work on the top. So this top piece here, the little galvanized piece, it did have autumn right here, but instead of trying to remove that, all I did was I peeled it off, soaked it in water for about 30 minutes, and the adhesive that was on the back peeled right off. And now I'm just going to attach that with my hot glue, and you can either use your hot glue or your E6000 to attach this to the top. Now I'm gonna start to work on the stem, and to work on that, I'm gonna be using these sticks that I picked up from outside. So you can paint this, but I feel like the sticks are gonna give it a little bit more dimension and character. So all I did was start to snap these pieces apart and glue them using my hot glue onto the stem. All right, so now I'm gonna be using this piece of glass that I am repurposing from a larger frame that I had to attach my pumpkin to. So I'm also gonna have the dimensions for this down below, so just in case you want this same size, you can get it cut at your local hardware store. So after I wiped it clean, I'm just going to place this frame. So it's kind of like the inset part of the actual frame, so it wasn't really the frame, but it framed out the piece of glass. But anyways, I'm going to be using that, and I'm going to attach it to the top of my glass. And you can get pieces of wood from your local store, measure it out, cut them down to the size that you need, and you can frame up the glass that way. Luckily, I didn't have to do that. I already have this piece, and I'm just going to glue it using my hot glue. I would definitely recommend using like E6000 or wood glue or something like that to attach this to the glass. Next, I'm gonna start to attach my pumpkin. So I am just going to be eyeballing this to make sure that it is in the center, but you can definitely use measuring tape or anything like that to make sure that it is definitely in the center. And then I'm going to start to attach this using my hot glue. Definitely, like I've said throughout this video, would recommend using E6000 to attach this to the glass. So the last thing that you could do to finish off this DIY, depending on what you have used to frame it out, you can use a Sawtooth Hanger or the little clasp, so you'll be able to hang this up. Or you could just not use those at all and use this as a standalone piece. All right, and that is it for this DIY. I absolutely love how this turned out. It was so simple to do. There's so many ways that you can do this. I love the fact that I used the glass, so it's see-through, very, very simple yet chic, and very, very nice to use for decorating. All right, so moving along to DIY number 2, I'm gonna be taking this cutting board you can get from the Dollar Tree, and I'm gonna cover up this picture using the Blossom White spray paint from Rust-Oleum. But before I put that on, I'm just going to take some sandpaper and sand it off a little bit, just so that the spray paint will adhere better. So to decorate, I'm gonna be using one of the Galvanized Words from the Dollar Tree and also the wooden pumpkins. And the first thing I'm gonna do with this pumpkin is I am going to stain it the color Golden Oak. And I did the front and the back, but literally you can just do the front because that's all you're gonna see. Next, I'm just going to use a piece of scrap wood. You guys know I use wood all the time. So I have scrap wood laying all over the place. So I'm just gonna use this, and I'm gonna start to cut this down to the sizes that I need to frame up the cutting board. So after I've got those pieces cut, I'm going to start to clean them up, and I'm gonna be using my sander to do that. And also I'm just going to take dark walnut again, and I'm going to restain over the pieces. Next, I'm also gonna be using these little smaller pumpkins that you can again get from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to stain them dark walnut as well. So I'm gonna start to add the wood around the sides, and then I'm gonna use use my clamps and my nail gun to nail this together. So after I've got the cutting board framed up, I'm gonna start to add my pumpkins. So there's so many different ways that you can arrange this onto your piece. You can just use the pumpkins, you can use the galvanized words, whatever you wanna do. But before I do that, I'm just going to wrap up the stem of my pumpkin using some twine to cover that hole. After I've got my pumpkin stem wrapped up with that twine, I'm going to start to attach everything using my hot glue. So the last thing that I'm going to show is that you can attach a sawtooth hanger to the back if you want to hang this up. You don't have to use a sawtooth hanger. Again, you can just use this as a standalone piece and be done. All right, so that is it for this sign. I love how this turned out. I love using these little galvanized words. I feel like I use one of these words every year. But anyways, so that is it. Super simple to do and perfect for the fall. So if you're not subscribed to my channel, make sure you click on that subscribe button and you hit that notification bell so you'll always be up to date with my latest tutorials. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.